What's going on, everybody? It's Marcellus Howard here, and welcome to the Backyard Podcast. And before we get into the meat and potatoes, what we're going to talk about today, I kind of want to give a background on this podcast. This is my first ever solo podcast. This is my first ever podcast officially. And I feel like this is a perfect time to start this. And the Backyard Pod is pretty much about any and everything. The backyard is kind of where I've started my content creation career in the YouTube scene and social media scene. So I feel like there's no better way than to bring the backyard to the audience in a different light, through podcasts, through talking, through having guests on the channel, through sports, culture, relationships, any and everything. This is an open book here. This is an open mic situation, open mic setting, and I'm excited for you guys to be on this journey with me. Now, you can listen to this podcast on Apple and Spotify, of course, all the major platforms. And you can watch it on YouTube weekly. We'll have new episodes every week. That's the goal, okay? Every week. And to bring you some entertainment. But, oh, man, okay. Game 6 yesterday. Golden State Warriors took down the Boston Celtics in 6. Now, I was on the record saying Celtics in 6. I wasn't, what's the word here? I wasn't under the impression of the Celtics were going to blow Game 4 and Game 5 back to back, and then blow Game 6 out of nowhere. But we have to give a boatload of credit to that championship team over there in that locker room, the Golden State Warriors, and Steve Curry and that coaching staff over there. And more importantly, their core, Draymond, Clay, and that man, Steph Curry. I mean, listen, say what you want about the guy. Say what you want. 4 rings. 2 MVPs, the only unanimous MVP in NBA history. And then he finally got that long-awaited, overdue Finals MVP. I think that solidifies him. In my opinion, I think that solidifies him in the top 10 of all time. Now, I don't know who I'm taking out of that top 10 all time yet. Best believe that's another conversation for another day, and somebody is coming out that top 10 list because Steph has made his way. If we being honest, he might creep into that top 7. Personally, the greatest shooter we've ever seen, changed the game of basketball, evolutionized the game of basketball. He made shooting 40-footers a normal thing, an actual stat now. Damian Lillard's doing it. Trae Young's doing it. LeBron James is doing it, who's been playing longer than Steph. Think about that. Times are getting crazier and crazier because of these athletes and how they shoot the ball. If you can shoot, you can stay and find your place in the league. Guaranteed. But well-deserved Finals MVP with Steph Curry. Put on a chef's kiss. I can't even speak right now. He put on a chef's kiss performance, no pun intended, last night to close out Game 6. On the road, by the way. Now Game 6 Clay wasn't too loud last night. I think he only had like 12 points. But Steph Curry, 34 points. Made it look easy. Wasn't even really pressing the issue early on. Letting his teammates get involved. Draymond's hitting threes. I mean, when Draymond's hitting threes, not much more you can do. You know, that's what you live with on the defensive end. I will live with Draymond hitting threes, Draymond taking shots. And if he makes them and they beat us, so be it. Now, let's get into the controversial 4-ring conversation. Now, 2015. The Warriors beat LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Without Kyrie gets hurt Game 1. Kevin Love doesn't play the whole series. Warriors win in 6. Andre Iguodala Finals MVP. 2016, they blew a 3-1 lead. It's crazy. 2017, 2018, Kevin Durant comes over. Now, mind you, Kevin Durant wins both Finals MVPs. But if you watched, this is my personal opinion, if you watched those final series, the offense was still ran through Steph. The focal point of defenses was kind of focused on Steph in a way. They were still doubling Kevin Durant, but Curry drew more defensive eyes than Kevin Durant did the whole series, which allowed Kevin Durant to go one-on-one, in which he might be the best one-on-one player we've ever seen in the game of basketball. You have the best shooter in basketball paired with one of the best ISO players we've ever seen, one of the best scorers we've ever seen. Now, those two rings, in my opinion, with Kevin Durant, might get some backlash for this. I feel like those two rings aren't even on the same level as this ring they won last night in Boston. Let me tell you why. The notion out there was Steph Curry could not win on his own. When he won in 2015, but I guess they were saying LeBron didn't have no help, so it was kind of uneven matchup, whatever the case may be. 2016, we saw the teams fully healthy. Cavs came back down 3-1. We all know what happened. Then KD comes, right? 2 Finals MVPs. Andre Iguodala gets the MVP in 2015 for guarding LeBron, which is crazy. Although LeBron averaged amazing numbers. Steph was still cooking that series, so I think Steph got robbed that series. He then comes back 4 years later after the last ring with Kevin Durant. Says, you know what? Let me go ahead and show these folks. Let me go ahead and show these folks that I'm Steph Curry and I'm him. Go ahead and throw me that Finals MVP. Throw me that 4th ring while you at it. Oh, without Kevin Durant. So without a doubt, this ring that they won last night is the best ring, the most meaningful ring. Well, I mean, all rings are meaningful, but this is the best championship that they have won in franchise history. Correct me if I'm wrong. Everyone was right. Everyone was writing this Warriors team off. Clay came off for 2 years of injury. Draymond's overrated, out of his prime. Steph can't get it done without KD. Okay. Okay. Hey, say what you want. First round. Let's go ahead and knock off the MVP Jokic. Gentleman sweep. 4-1. Second round. Let's beat the Memphis Grizzlies. Although Ja Morant was hurt for like the last 3 games. In 6. Okay. Although they did have one of the worst losses in playoff history I've ever seen. The Warriors did. That was crazy. Let's go ahead and beat Luka Doncic, who they're saying is the next LeBron James, in 5. And then let's go beat Boston, who swept the Nets. Beat Giannis in 6. Beat Jimmy and Bam in 7. Oh, wait, no. Wait a minute. They beat the... They beat the Bucks in 7 or 6. Can I fact check that real quick? Let me give me 1 second, because I could have swore it was in 6. Celtics versus Bucks. Yes, in 7. Correct. And then they get to the finals and lose to Steph Curry in 6. Steph Curry and the Warriors. If the Boston Celtics had beat the Steph Curry Warriors this year, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown might have had the greatest playoff run we've seen since Dirk Nowitzki. Mind you, Dirk Nowitzki beat. Let's go through that. Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and LeBron James and Dwayne Wade in the same playoff season. In one postseason, he beats arguably 2 of the top 3 players of all time. Swept one of them. Think about that. But Steph Curry definitely earned his flowers last night. If y'all wasn't giving him his flowers prior to. Now, this is the conversation gets confusing here because on social media, a lot of teams are saying this Warriors team has been a super team without KD. But let me ask you this. How can someone be a super team by the definition if you draft your core players? Klay Thompson was drafted. Draymond Green was drafted. Steph Curry was drafted. Kevon Looney, Kuminga, Poole, Moody. They picked up Juan Toscano. Picked up Gary Payton that nobody really wanted. Everybody was writing Gary Payton off. Found him an excellent spot. Traded D'Lo for Andrew Wiggins. The Andrew Wiggins that everybody else was saying was a bust when he leads almost every statistical category from that 2014 draft class. Far from a bust, if you ask me. That in that whole draft class, statistically, Andrew Wiggins is the best, and he went number 1. So I think Andrew Wiggins is pretty damn good at basketball. I don't think the Minnesota Timberwolves was a good fit for him. So that D'Lo trade that brought Andrew Wiggins over to Golden State allowed him to play a different role, play defense, score when we need you. Let him play more free, not too much responsibility on his plate. And we seen what happened in this final series. He was, besides Steph, the most important player on this Warriors team for the finals. Defensively, played excellent one-on-one defense against Jason Tatum. Excellent. Excellent. Knocked down threes, attacking the basket, crashing the boards. Did everything you asked of him. And more. In game 5, when Steph went 0 for 9, who pulled through? JP off the bench, okay. Gary Payton off the bench, okay. Andrew Wiggins. Every game showed up for you and brought something that you needed. Got to get that man his flowers, man. But this team is not a super team by definition. Now, if you go and look 20 plus years from now and you see Draymond, Klay, Steph, 3 Hall of Famers on the same team, oh my gosh, super team. But those are going to be the kids who didn't and weren't able to grow up watching this Warriors team play. So let's stop that notion right now. Not no damn super team at all. Great organization. They did the damn thing through draft picks. Kudos to them. More importantly, the question that's been asked. Did Boston's inexperience hurt them? Al Horford was the most experienced person on that team. Meaning he's played in the most playoff games out of all of them. Ime Udoka is an NBA champion as a coach with Greg Popovich when they defeated the Miami Heat, by the way. First year as a head coach, NBA Finals. Steve Kerr's been there multiple times, 9 rings as a player and a coach. He knows what it takes. Ime Udoka been there one time, or has won one time as a coach. He kind of understands what it takes as well. Here's the problem. Boston had a lot of leads in this series. But what happened when they started getting these leads? They started turning the ball over, taking bad shots, forcing bad shots, allowing wide open threes on the defensive end. You can't let a championship team see one go through with no contest. And then you turn the ball over to a championship team with experience. You can't turn the ball over 16 plus times and expect to be a championship team. It's not going to happen. Experience, inexperience, whatever you want to call it, if you're turning that pill over, forcing shots, playing hero ball, it's not going to work. It don't matter who you are. It's not going to work. Game 4, blew it. Game 5, Steph goes 0 for 9. Blew it. That might be a little bit of inexperience there for sure. We got Marcus Smart getting texts. We got Jaylen Brown and JT throwing the ball around, turning it over. And a little bit to me, when I was watching the series, Steve Kerr made adjustments. Ime might have made adjustments, but they weren't too visible. Defensively, they made adjustments guarding Steph Curry they did in Game 5. Excellent. Amazing. Allow the others to beat you. But the rotations were exactly the same. After Game 1, when Derek White and Peyton Pritchard went off, or they helped your team come back and win that Game 1, I feel like you got to give a little bit more confidence to Peyton and Derek White somehow, some way. Although they weren't knocking down shots, I feel like you got to let them play through mistakes more often, just like Steve Kerr did with Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is making plenty of mistakes this final series, his first finals ever. But Steve Kerr said, you know what? I trust in my guys. Leave JP out there. He'll figure it out. Last night played amazing. Game before that played amazing off the bench. Gave you exactly what you needed. In Game 5, the Boston Celtics, outside of trash period, like outside of the trash time when the game was already over, scored 4 points. Your bench scores 4 points in Game 5. How can you win when the other team goes 14, 15, and 2 off the bench, which is 31-4 off the bench? You expect to be a championship team scoring 4 points off the bench? How? I'm not counting when they went platoon system, 5-5 sub. No, like when those other bench players score. We're not talking about that. We're talking about in the prime minutes, where your rotational minutes, your bench scored 4 points. And y'all still had a chance to win that game, which is crazy. You had a crazy, great third quarter run and then blew the rest of the game. So maybe that's part of the inexperience that I don't know. We're not in the NBA, so we can only speculate and assume. But what we saw, the eye test, was the moment too big? I don't know. But the inexperience did hurt them, though. A lot of things I just named was a lot of inexperience. Turning the ball over, not taking care of the ball, taking bad shots and all that. That's experience. The lack thereof. Furthermore, Jason Tatum. 2 points in the second half. In a Game 6, at home, back against the wall, elimination style. You scored 2 points in the second half. You supposed to be a superstar. As a superstar, you can't have back-to-back bad games. Now, Game 5, well, I think he scored about 25, 27, right? Took a lot of shots. In the fashion that they came, wasn't the way you wanted to see them score. So you know what? I'll give him Game 5. I'm not even going to say Game 5 was a bad game for him. It was a bad game for JB. His only bad game of the series. But Game 6, when your team needs you most, you've been labeled as the upcoming superstar, if not the superstar or one of the newest superstars in the league. Young cat, though, on the 25. The expectation was high based on what he did in the previous series before that. This year, you can't score less than 15 points in an elimination game at home. JB carried the scoring load. Can't do it by himself. I feel like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are one and the same in the sense that we know what to expect. They kind of can give us the same exact thing. They can score in bunches, get to the rack, and then once they get cooking, it can get scary. As a superstar caliber player that Jason Tatum is, and I beg to differ that Jaylen Brown isn't on that same type of level. About the same age. So why isn't Jaylen Brown talked about in the same light as Jason Tatum. Everyone wants to say Jaylen Brown's the Batman. Jaylen Brown's the Robin, JT's the Batman. I challenge you guys to think about this. I feel like the only reason you're saying that is inconsistency. But contradicting itself, they've both been kind of inconsistent in the playoffs. But when they both get going, oh man, you can't tell which is which. Both look like superstars. So why can't JB get that same amount of love? He's a lot of the reason why y'all in a lot of games this year. Won a lot of games in the playoffs. I don't know. Maybe they got to sit down and figure out something and say, hey, man, if we want to get back here to this finals, we got to figure out how can we be more locked in? How can we each have that dog in us to not let that happen again, to lose 3 straight again? Like this one got to hurt them because they got there. It was 2 games away from winning an NBA championship. But hey, I love Jason Tatum's game. I'm a big Jaylen Brown fan. That's my guy. I did one of my first ever horse shows with Jaylen Brown. That was a pilot episode with House of Highlights. That's my dog. I was rooting for him to the end. And I still think offensively, one of the best players in the league. Offensively, one of the best young players in the league. Defensively, still working on that. Plays solid defense. But I feel like he deserves his flowers like Jason Tatum has been getting as well. I feel like JB should be getting just as enough or just the same amount of love that Jason Tatum is getting. And Jason Tatum is amazing. Phenomenal. Box office. But we got to have that conversation. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. I think JT might have a brighter upside in the future, like a higher upside. JT might have a higher upside. But JB right there. So don't be surprised if next year JB take that. JB take that next step. That next step. All-star caliber player, which he kind of was this year. It hurts because, it's times when you hate being wrong, right? But you have to own up to it as a man. As a human being, you got to own up to it. As an adult. I was wrong. I was blatantly wrong. 100% wrong. I'm going to leave that for my final remarks. But on a side note, there were 5 father and son duos last night. Gary Payton, Clay and his father, Curry and his father, Al Horford and his father. I'm talking about father-son duos, right? Which they brought up the graphic on ESPN. If we're talking about father and son duos, where would LeBron and Bronny rank if and when they team up on the same NBA team, which we've never seen in NBA history? I could be wrong. Fact check me on that. But I don't believe we've seen that in NBA history on the same team. Not playing each other, on the same team. I think the last time we've seen that was in MLB with Ken Griffey, senior and junior. How crazy would that be? That's just a side note. That's just a food for thought for you guys. Think about that. LeBron and Bronny on the same team as a father and son duo. Amazing. Amazing. Moving on, though, I will tell you one thing that I'm excited for is this damn parade. We've had some crazy parade things happen from all sports, from Tom Brady being absolutely piltered, drunk out of his mind. Swaggy P, shirtless. J.R. Smith, shirtless. Henny Smith, right? I'm interested to see what's going to happen this year. I feel like Klay Thompson is going to be the most entertaining player at the parade. Klay or JP. Because once Clay said holy cannolis, I'm like, this dude literally, Clay enjoys life. I'm actually excited to see the parade, the interviews, and how they act because, like I said, they deserve it, man. They deserve it, and I can't wait to watch what Draymond says, and also to listen to his podcast. I know his finals, his championship podcast is going to be amazing because there's nothing you can tell him no more. There ain't nothing you can say to Draymond, 4-time champ. Ain't nothing you can say to Draymond no more. I'm sorry. But that finals parade though, I'm excited to see that. Because I also know Steph gonna be a little tipsy for sure. Finals MVP, man. But before we get out of here, there's something that happened last night, right? Non-sports related. Drake dropped an album, his 7th, quote unquote, studio album. A lot of people weren't happy about it. If you like the album, more power to you. I listened to the album. And it wasn't that bad because I understood something. He dropped a pop album, right? Full of TikTok bangers and Forever 21 bangers. TikTok and Forever 21 bangers. Things of that nature, like H&M, Zara, TikTok, etc. People hate on this album now. But when they're hearing it in the stores, the pop clubs, they're going to understand one thing. Drake is a genius. He don't move and drop anything just cuz. He knew what he was doing. This wasn't a rap album for him. He knew that. Which to me is why he dropped the album with a day's notice. He said, I'm not going to rap nothing for y'all. I'm not going to heavily promote this. We're going to drop with a day's notice. It's going to be something that y'all didn't expect. All pop, all the little like, you know what I'm saying? And watch it still do numbers. Watch him still do 6 figures in the first week. I think he dropped this album to show how great he is. But if you have a top 3 song, let me know. What are your top 3 songs from the album? If you have a top 3 songs from the album, comment below. But yeah, that's amazing by Drake, by the way. Very smart, methodical, thought through. No one thought that was gonna happen. Came out of nowhere. Everyone was expecting summer bangers, and we didn't get that. Honestly, never mind. Might have literally been honestly never mind. But like I said, I respect it. What Drake did there. Can't be mad at that at all. Man's a freaking genius. Freaking genius. To close out, a few things. You guys an eye when I say this. Steph Curry is now sitting at that table with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Steph Curry is now sitting at that table saying, hello, can I get my appetizers, please? Followed by a nice ribeye steak and lobster mac and cheese. Willingly. Not whispering, talking confidently. Hey. Yeah, I need that. Yeah. Ain't nothing you can say about Steph Curry no more. He don't got to win another ring. First ever unanimous MVP, followed by his first ever finals MVP without KD. In a series where they were the underdogs the whole series. In the playoffs where everyone was saying, oh, the Warriors are done. They're not getting back to the finals. Phoenix Suns, Dallas Mavericks. Oh, y'all must have forgot. Klay Thompson, Draymond, Steph, Dynasty, Steve Kerr. That's a dynasty over there with no rim protector, no lob threat, and they still get it done. The power and evolution of shooting the basketball was on full display in this series. Shout out to the Celtics for making it that far. Much love and respect to them. They got a lot of time left to make something happen. And I feel like they'll get back there soon come. Especially with this next generation. But right now, the Golden State Warriors, they earned that. They deserve that. They went and got that. Top of the backboard style. And I applaud them for shutting up the haters. Amazing. An amazing feat. Got to give them their flowers. And I'm not even a Golden State Warrior fan. I am a Sacramento Kings fan until I die. 16 years without the playoffs. So I I'm not going to talk about that. Kind of a touchy subject there. But I also want to say this too. I just want to clear this up, make sure we're clear on this. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the next superstars in the league. But right now, Steph Curry is the baddest man on the planet. Steph Curry is the baddest man on the planet right now. And until further notice, we'll be the baddest man on the planet. Until the start of that season for 2022, 2023 tips off. Then we can have another conversation and see what we're talking about. Right now, it's Steph Curry. Can't believe it. Same amount of rings as LeBron. Now I got to hear Steph Curry is better than LeBron now because of the rings. But if that's the case, if we're talking about just rings, Bill Russell's the greatest. Simple as that. I don't want to hear nothing. I want to hear it. I don't even want to have the conversation right now. Just let Steph Curry enjoy this, man. Let's not even try to compare him too much to LeBron and the other greats. Let's just say he's at that table now. Let him enjoy this. This is his moment. He deserves it. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. I'm your host, Marcellus Howard. This is the Backyard Podcast. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We'll have episodes weekly. This is fun. I like doing this. I will catch y'all on the next podcast. Now, for those who follow my reaction channel, you know I ended in a certain way. We're going to keep that same vibe over here. Until next time. You